FSR trying to get back really in that kind of mode he had for some 15, 16 months.
Yeah, we're talking about two of the last three winners of the US Open here. They've both also been world champion in relatively recent times. Carlo Biado lost what was in reality his first match. It had a walkover in the opening round. Of course, that creates all sorts of problems. Had to win 3 matches on the loser's side, and even if you do that, you then run the risk of giving yourself a tougher draw in the last 64, and boy, has that turned out to be the case for him, because he's up against the world number 1. But Carlo Biado will get things started.
Yeah, and if you think about, you mentioned Carlo on that one-loss side, now catching FSR. What about FSR's opinion of this match? It could have been a, you don't want to say soft because none of them are soft, but he could have been a bigger favorite on paper anyways, drawing one of the one-loss side guys. But, we're seeing that more and more every event, to where no matter who the final 64 is, you got to bring your game, and you got to bring it right from the start.
Yeah, I think Biado and Van Boning were obviously 2 players more than anyone else who, all of those who had come through on the winner's side, wanted to avoid in the draw for this last 64.
And for FSRs wanting to get back in that form, not saying he's played poorly, but he's had some fumbles along the line the last 6 months at times, and it's a big match for both these guys, because Carlo really, I watched a little bit of his one-loss side matches after losing early, and it's not like he steamrolled them. The scores were there, but he still had some mistakes. So this could go a long ways for both these two going into that final 32. Push out here, and you're going to see both these players not giving an inch. There's a former US Open and World Nineball champion. Coming off the right side of it, it looks like, trying to use the 3, 7, and 9. And that was, to me, a little bit easy as far as the push out was concerned. And when you're going to push out and you figure to get snookered, you want to leave a very doable kick shot, something you feel like you're going to get at pretty easily and maybe have some way, to return the safety. And this is not easy at all. I would come, I don't know, this is maybe 3 rails behind it, just kicking past the pink. He's going to try and go 1 rail at it, so he's going to hit draw stroke here off the side rail. And the thing, the way these tables have been playing, I'm not so sure how much speed he can get on this. He's going to kick to the side rail. You can see him digging down on the cue ball. He's got to kind of bend it a bit. Now he's going between the 3-7. I think this is more difficult. Super solid hit, though. We'll see if the 7 helps him out. Big reward there for a good solid hit on the 2, and not an easy kick shot to start.
Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, 31 years of age, started the year as the world number 1. Massively strengthened his grip on the top ranking by winning the World Championship for the first time in snowy Poland right at the start of February. And he's stayed at number 1 ever since.
Yeah, I like what he's looking at here. He's got a couple ways to pocket this too. He could kick it straight in that lower right corner. It's on your screen. He could kick at it and nip the 7 with the 2, and also possibly pocket in that corner. Good way about this one, he can get a little speed on it and try and create some distance some kind of separation. Now he's looking at the bottom rail. Coming up underneath the two. Good thing about the kick off the, excuse me, not the bottom rail, the top rail is, all right, he's going to play 2 rails at this. Maybe squeezes the 2 in the side off the 7. Yeah, you see where it's going right there? Yep.
I think that was a bit of a crowd pleaser. They seem to enjoy that.
Well, I think it was not only that, but definitely by design. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think he thought he had a chance. If it doesn't hit the pocket, maybe it nestles near the 9 for some cover. And say it all the time, I don't know if there's any 2 that run around together that tactically are better than FSR and David Alcady. And that's saying something because, you know, we have some, I don't know how many Filipinos here in the tournament, but that was something that they were always regarded as the best and still up there.
17 of them in the last 64. The Philippines players are having an unbelievable day.
Well, a few of them had to draw each other, I think, but besides that, against opponents from another country, I don't know if they're undefeated today, but
no, not entirely. I mean, Orcolio lost, for example.
And Shane lost. Shane beat his opponent.
Yeah, 2 matches are all Philippines, but all the others, I think, are playing opponents from other nations.
Yeah, and he knew he was always going to be on the rail here, and he wanted to go a bit further. Now, he did get it off the rail a bit. Now he's looking for the lower right corner. I think he's got to go lower left and dig on the cue ball. The only thing is it's a very demanding shot. He can't really fall underneath the 6 so easily. He can actually, but not much of a pocket besides the upper left. So a lot going on here in this first rack. It's a race to 10 here in the final 64.
He's only actually played 2 matches to get to the stage. Like Biado, he had a walkover in the first round. Then beat Sung Liu Cho 9-4. And that took him into winner's qualification. Sanchez Ruiz played Tolian Han, and I think he was 7-4 up at one stage, got pulled back to 7-all. It was certainly along those lines, and had to finish strongly for a 9-7 win. So he must be feeling very fresh. He's been here for some time and only played 2 matches.
Yeah, well, at the Perry Open, I talked to David and FSR quite a bit. And of course, they're globetrotters like no other, and they said they've never felt jet lag like they have when they arrived here in Vietnam. And, you know, it's just, could be a number of things, but I'm not sure if they've ever been to Vietnam, but, you know, a lot going on in this fall part of the calendar. And, you know, another thing, it's a stressful time, right? With so much going on in the pool world, and of course so much that means a lot to so many players that, you know, you got to play pool, and that's stressful enough.
Yeah, fresh, I guess, in a US Open sense, or sorry, Hanoi Open sense. That's showing the jet lag, thinking I was back in Atlantic City there.
Right.
Of course, he did play in the Perry Open, got to the quarterfinals, but since then he's only played 2 matches all week. Conserving energy for what he hopes will be half a dozen matches now in the next 3 days, and he's off to a good start here. As we look back at some of the moments of that opening rack, which has fallen the way of Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Anton Raga and Ralph Souquet playing for the right to meet the winner of this match. Raga leading 4-2 there. Naoki Oi 5-3 up on Emil Leonor of the Philippines. Levan Corteza is on the hill against Roland Garcia in one of those all-Philippines clashes. It's 9-5 there. And Alban Ocean on the hill as well. 2-time world champion leads Chris Melling 9-5. Niels Fine 5-2 up on Tyler Steyer. Lucius Yap leads Oliver Villafuerte 2-1. 4-all between Oscar Dominguez and Takashi Orauka. Kyle Amoroso, who sent SVB to the loser side yesterday, is 5-4 up on Patrick Gonzalez. Back here then for the second rack.
Yeah, and one thing you'll notice about FSR that I love, and you know, it changes a little with the shot clock, but you know, he'll make his decision when he's up off the ball, but very committed to whatever he decides, and that's a big part of it, because we all make kind of so-so decisions sometimes. That's just how it is in sports, but if you can commit to it, you can overcome those so-so decisions quite often. And so after what was a splendid kick shot in the last game, and he got safe, Carlo did, but a better kick shot from FSR and then a clearance on the table. Now we see the Tiger back at it.
Carlo Biado, considerably the older of the two. In fact, he turns 40 later this month. Doesn't he look like Johnny Mathis?
Yeah, maybe.
It's only dawned on me now. Incredibly, it's taken me this long to spot it.
Yeah, two-rail skate trying to come across the top. Might need a little help here. This should open up a shot. And he, you know, that shot there, when you're coming two rails across, you don't want to blast it. But, you know, when there's so many balls on the table, maybe a hair more speed to get separation. He was playing the speed if he struck the two just perfectly, and that's a hard one to depend on when kicking two rails. Very good there.
I do feel the need to explain Johnny Mathis is a famous American singer, particularly from the 1970s.
Well, you got to believe the Filipinos are hyped and they're up for it. Of course, the godfather of Filipino pool showed up today, and Efren Reyes, and you know, that means a lot to those players. It really does, and it means a lot to all of us. I actually gave him a big old hug this morning when I saw him outside the hotel and get out of the car with Mr. Pouliot, and it was just certainly good to see him, and I'm as happy as anyone that he's here. And that challenge match tomorrow should be it's kind of fitting here for our new Hanoi Open. I think it's going to be something special.
Well, you've promised to introduce me to Efren so I can get a photo with him, because I've never met him before, and who knows, I might never meet him again. That's one you've got to get for the scrapbook.
Yeah, absolutely. My little pool room at home. I got a picture with me, him and my wife.
Wow.
Of course, I've got a lot of photos with Efren through the years. Been very fortunate. Just smooth. Okay, table playing a little softer, which we talked about that with some of the players earlier. That it seems like the arena is very moist outside today, humid outside, but it doesn't seem that bad inside the arena. And it's amazing, really, to be here in Hanoi. Shane Van Boning won his first match. Now we have Efren here, and it's really, in my eyes, between them two, is the greatest of all time. I know Earl Strickland could be in that conversation as well. But when you come to all disciplines in the game, I just really think it comes down to those two.
Tell you what, if you set up a picture of me, Shane, and Efren, I'll be in your debt forever, but I think that might be asking a bit too much. So.
Well, you never know. It may not be in the venue. We'll see. They're going to get mobbed in the venue, but you never know. The hotel might be the setting for us. All right, full game mode here for FSR, taking nothing for granted.
And a fine start. The man from Spain, he leads Carlo Biado 2-0. Naoki Owen is 6-3 up on Emil Leonor. Alexa Pechelge and Sanyan Pelovanovic just starting out in their match. And you talk about guys who are great mates on the circuit. Those two, you rarely see one of them without the other. And they travel everywhere together. You know, they're playing each other.
Well, it's funny, this morning I saw them coming in as well, and I gave them a look, and we all just kind of in unison, without even saying anything, just all kind of threw our hands up and smiled, and they knew what I was talking about, and I certainly knew what they were talking about. And
So they arrived at the venue together?
Well, no, this was this morning at the hotel.
Yeah.
They were up bright and early. I wouldn't doubt they're rooming together, but that used to be a funny story back in the day when we used to go on the road. We'd go cross country to play a tournament. Be 128 players, and so often it seems like you draw your mate that you drove cross country with first round.
You, of course, played your World Championship final back in 1999 against the guy you were rooming with that week.
Yeah.
Nick Varner.
Yeah, Nick Varner. That was one of the greatest weeks of my life, just getting a room with him, let alone the tournament. He robbed me in the final. Very deserving champion. He's another one, really, for the argument for greatest of all time, really. I mean, especially when you talk about a bunch of disciplines. I mean, he's probably top 5.
Fine player though he is, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz wouldn't quite be in that conversation, but earlier this year he was playing pool for a time about as well as it's possible to play it. Off the back of his World Championship success, obviously he played very well. We were in Leicester in the English East Midlands for the Premier League a few weeks later, and there was a run in the middle of that where for about 5 or 6 matches you just thought this is as close to perfection as anyone is ever going to get.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen the stroke freed up for a player for so long and in so many, high tariff matches. And the World Nineball, of course, the U.S. Open, but he won that Derby City Classic to get things started with 500 players. And, he won many other tournaments along the lines. And when he didn't win them, it feels like he came second. So one of the greatest runs we'll ever see in the sport.
And it all started with a match where he was 6-0 down at the UK Open last year in London on the opening day. He'd lost his first match. He was on the loser's side against Ashik Nathwani. 6-0 down. Turned it round to win 9-8. And that was the start of winning 11 matches in a row. Took him to the final where he lost to Joshua Filler, but it really got him started. He won the World Cup soon after that. US Open, made his Mosconi debut, part of the winning team, and then into this year, that world title in Poland, and that Premier League success as well, where he played so well.
Well, like I said, just that was a prime example there. Very heady up off the ball, but very free swinging when he's down, and he just goes with it. And I think when he's had some troubles, it's been a little of that, maybe a little hesitant pulling the trigger on some shots, and it seems like he's playing himself back into form.
This is a repeat of a classic US Open semi-final from round about this time last year. Sanchez Ruiz looked like he was going to be a comfortable winner when he led 7-2. Biado got back into it. FSR pulled away again, got to the hill at 10-6. Biado won the next 4 racks. Sanchez Ruiz emerged a very relieved winner, 11-10. So made a great start in that one, and likewise here. Seems to be getting steadily better as these early exchanges go on.
Well, the even better part of his story is, as far as FSR, is it wasn't like a filler or somebody that was just hit the scene and we all know he was going to win. He really put it through the grind of some 8 or 10 years on tour, and playing second fiddle to his running mate David Alcady in so many ways.
He got into the sort of B list of the world game quite a number of years ago, and then for a long time it looked as though he was going to be marooned there forever. And then once he got into the A list, suddenly he became the best around.
Yeah, well, it's a funny game like that. You see it in all individual sports for the most part. Just some do it different ways, and he's done it with pure class.
Ralph Souquet also brings a lot of class to the table, and he's just won the 7th rack. 54 years of age, but only one behind against Anton Raga at 4-3. Naoki Oi has won rack 11 to lead Emil Leonor of the Philippines, 7-4. Sanyan Pelovanovic 2-0 up on his mate Alexa Peixelge. Males final leads Tyler Steyer 5-3. Aloysius Yap 4-1 against Oliver Villafuerte. Oscar Dominguez 1 ahead of Takashi Arauca at 5-4. Kyle Amoroto 6-5 up in the All-Philippines clash with Patrick Gonzalez. I can tell you about another cracker we're going to have between another 2 former world champions in the next round. Because Albin Ocean has seen off Chris Melling by 10 racks to 5, and Ocean will now play Shane Van Boning in a repeat of last year's World Championship final. That will be later today for a place in the last 16. In terms of big results that we've seen so far today, Skylar Woodward was beaten 10-5 by Jan van Lierop. We also saw Shane Wolford, who's trying to get into that American Mosconi team that Woodward is already into, getting a fine win over Moritz Neuhausen by 10 racks to 5. Mario He is out, going down 10-6 to Francesco Candela. Always a dangerous opponent.
Yeah, but Mario led 5-1 in that match, and to lose, what would that be, 9 out of the next 10 to lose it?
5-1 to 10-6, yep, yeah. You're spot on.
And so is FSR, by the way, to start this match. Spot on.
You must have been delighted, speaking of roommates, to see Shane Wolford, who's yours this week, getting a fine win over Moritz Neuhausen, who's been one of the big breakout stars of this year.
Well, I kind of put them, I know Moritz has had, you know, the World Cup runner-up and, you know, really good few weeks there before the U.S. Open. But I kind of put them in a lot of the same boat in some regards with their game. They both break the balls really well. I think, of course, they still got some seasoning to acquire, but I think they're a lot more similar players than people might think. You know, Shane didn't do that well at the U.S. Open, and then he missed a couple tournaments. But prior to that, he was really starting to shine. And yesterday, to try and qualify in the Winterside match, he really played well. Watched a lot of it. He just had a few things that didn't allow him to close, and they were on him. You know, a couple little things with the cue ball got away, and you know, good to see him bounce back today with a good win.
In between, he played that losers qualifying match that he was so close to going out of the tournament in. Well, if Francisco Sanchez Ruiz came here to Hanoi with thoughts of trying to regain the sort of form he was showing from around the middle of last year through to the spring of this year, and the signs in this match are very encouraging. Another clean kill, and in very little time really, he's established a 4-0 lead over Carlo Biado. So the man from the Philippines struggling here, but another player from that country is through to the last 32 because Lee Van Corteza has beaten his compatriot Roland Garcia. Both players have done very well in big tournaments in the past. So 10-6, that one finished. And he will now play another fellow Philippines man, young Bernie Regilario, in the last 32 later. To the next round, well, scheduled to anyway, in about 40 minutes from now. I can tell you the next match on this table will be in the last 32. Jason Shaw against Jeff DeLuna, a rematch of yesterday when Shaw won 9-3 in winners qualification.
Yeah, I'll tell you, even though he didn't get a shot on the break, he's making balls besides the one. Good signs for him. And another good sign is Nineball, you know, like right here, even though he's got a push, it's a doable thing. It's the way the one lays, it doesn't really play to any pockets, so he can kind of lean on his tactical side and try and maybe outwit Carlo Biado for another game.
It's all about being in control of the situation, isn't it? And once you have it, not letting that control go. And the tactical side of that is where that really comes into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's a long-term percentage. I mean, these players jump the ball so well. They kick so well. They can turn things around quickly. but you still want to go in with the advantage, and the more often you can do that, you're going to come away with more wins. You know, as long as you perform after you get a shot. And that's what's so impressive. You know, he got shots after the break like no other for that run, but still to be able to continually perform after those shots after the break with all the pressure, and we know what the World Nineball Tour is bringing now, and all the players want it so much. I mean, it was, like I said, a run for the ages, FSR. This was a little funny. You really don't want to leave the bottom of the cue ball if you can help it. Yeah, and he's not going to get this back. He knows he's going to be stitched behind the 7. I think, anyways. So it should be queuing down on the ball a little bit here for Carlo. And I thought he could just knock the 1 away and kind of hold him behind the brown 7. Really don't think he can pass this. That's okay as well. Not okay, it's really good. If he can't see this ball, the blue 2 is going to cut off the left side of the table with a kicking attempt. And any other kick attempt is really difficult. And at this level, when you're down, you see your opponent executing, and Carlo, of course, knowing how good Fran is tactically, he had to take that on one way or another. Okay, he's got an edge. I may still go for the kick here. You know, I don't know how much of an edge he has, but I like kicking between the 2 and 9 here, like he's looking them. I think you have a better chance creating something percentage-wise than what he can just directly attacking at the 1. Just don't see much there. A lot of gaps. I mean, if he just edges it, he could hit the 2 with the cue ball and not get much movement. I think you're going to eventually see him kick at this. Really don't want to play a big swerve with the 8 so far away. You know, if the 8's closer to the cue ball, much easier to calculate the bend on the ball, you know, kind of when it bites back. I like this shot here with about medium speed. He could pocket the 3 if he comes across the 1. And there's all kinds of traffic, so he could come away without giving up a shot. That's what's happened here. So Carlo, of course, he's a world champion and a former U.S. Open champion, but he's got to keep his cool here early, not much his way.
Yeah, Biado's here was 2017 in the World Championship, beating Roland Garcia. The only time, in fact, that the World Final has been between 2 players from the Philippines. He almost won it again the next year, but lost to a young Joshua Filler in the final. His U.S. Open success came 2 years ago. First time it was played in Atlantic City. And it was a great tournament for Asian players. He beat Naoyuki Oi in the semis and then Aloysius Yap in the final. In fact, he'd beaten Johan Chua in the quarters, another player from this part of the world. At the time, he was the 10th player to have won both of the 2 standout titles, World Championship and the US Open. He's had 2 more since then, Shane Van Boening and FSR.
You mentioned my pick of the tournament. Had to look back to see how he's doing. That'd be Naoki Oi up 8-4.
It's just been gradually building that lead. It was close enough early on, but he's finding some momentum late in the contest.
Yeah, and Ralph Souquet hanging in there, trailing 5-4 with Anton Raga. And I think the tables, the pockets aren't as tough as the U.S. Open, as they should not be. The U.S. Open should be the most difficult, in my opinion. So I think it sets up for Ralph, you know, if he can keep his confidence, get a few rolls at the right time. I don't think he needs help from his opponents. I really don't. I don't think he needs that. I don't think he's at that point. I think he just needs to keep his confidence up and maybe get a few looks after the break to get the arm going, but you never know.
Yeah, and even at 54, he's not out here as a ceremonial player. He's still very active, very competitive. Last 16 at the US Open a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and you get a few more smiles from Ralph than you did back in the day, but it's still all business. I'll tell you what, this is a hard one to want to not shoot at one way or another, but even the bank back underneath him where the cue ball plays is not the worst shot in the world, just because, you know, it's going to feel good for these players, but I'm not sure what he's looking at here. Can't just roll up on the ute, I don't think, anyways. All right, cueing down, so he's probably attacking. Wow, what a shot.
Suddenly it feels like we're back in the springtime, because this is the way he was playing all the time back then.
Well, again, you know, it'll change tomorrow for these players that advance, but you know, taking a hair more time up off the ball, but you can tell when he does make that decision, he's going to go with it. That's a big part of it. This does play on the side, but very difficult. I'm not so sure he can gain easy position either. Like he's putting it behind the red 3. Could go behind the 9. When you're playing safe today compared to when I played, just you got to be a little more heady of the jump cue, and that's why you saw him really paying attention to where the 2 went after it passed the 9. He didn't want to give up a jump shot. Now, Carlo, he's looking at, man, does this 8 ball maybe bank cross corner by the 6, and maybe the 6 gives him a little bit of a bigger pocket? So I wouldn't hit this Mach 5, but it'll have a little speed. He put a lot of speed. He's going to get a little bit of a roll. And you can tell a little edgy at the moment, waiting to see when he first gets his first opportunity to knock a ball in. Don't think he's pocketed a ball yet in this set, huh, Michael?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And he just played safe in that first game. That's when FSR made that 2-rail kick on the 2, made it in the side and got things going. Now you can go either way here, 2 rails at this ball, but notice the left side of the table a little more open. So that means he would want to kick to the right side. That way, if he comes across a 2, he has a path for the cue ball to get freed up and go up table. Now, both have value, but as far as trying to get safe, I like the other route a little better. Now what he's looking at is coming 1 rail at the 2, I think. Feeling like he may be able to kick it in 1 rail. If he hits it solid, he's got the 3-9, and maybe the 2 goes towards that right side pocket. So this will have some speed as well. Look at the cue balls tracking up behind the 6. FSR right now, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a look that you describe as amused embarrassment.
Yeah, well, I love seeing it. You know, you've been around sports, right? But the pool players, to me, from the ones I've been around, really the best wit. Really good guys. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, Jay, just going to say Carlo Biado looking to reach the last 32 of one of these big Matchroom Open events for the 3rd time this year. Managed to go even further than that at the US Open. Ran into Federal Gorst in the last 16. Oh, where's the 3? It's an eventful few minutes, Jeremy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think Carlo has fans everywhere, but along with FSR, these fans want to see them both shoot. Here we go. Kills the cue ball nicely.
He was 3-0 down against Gorst in that match at the US Open just a fortnight ago. Until he turned it around so well that he was ahead by 5-4. They were still level at 6-all, and then Gorst started to gradually pull away, won at 10-7.
It's got to go a bit. This could get on the 50, and I'm really shocked that he came out for the corner there. I thought he would come for just one rail over for the side. He's suggesting he was trying to come for the side, just maybe got a little too much into it. This is pretty thin. Always a favorite, these great players, in my opinion, when they take almost any shot on, really, but missable for sure.
Yeah, job not quite done yet here. Of controlling the cue ball, putting a ball that's just over the pocket, particularly so when you're doing it from distance, still has to be contended with. But one good shot here, and he should win his first rack.
Yeah, it's a hard one to predict, the cue ball going forward, so he should draw this just 2 rails across the table. That's going to feel good. Hit that really well.
It never felt likely that things would continue the way they were going, and sure enough, Carlo Biado has now got one on the board. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, the world #1, leads by 4 racks to 1. Kyle Amoroto is on the hill now. The young man from the Philippines who beat Shane Van Boning yesterday is 9-5 up against Patrick Gonzalez. Oscar Dominguez, another of those Americans pushing for the Mosconi. He's in the team last year, leads Takashi Arauca 6-5. Aloysius Yap flying at 6-1 against Oliver J. Villafuerte. Niels Fine, just edging Tyler Steyer at the moment at 5 racks to 4. Sanyan Pelovanovic has added another, so it's 3-0 now over Alexa Pechelge. Yuki Oi just needs a couple more. In fact, he now needs only one more because he's just made it 9-4 against Emil Leonor. 5-all now between Anton Raga and Ralph Suke. I think Raga was a couple ahead early on in that, so Suke has responded well. Biado, I hope that last rack is the start of a sustained response from him. He's breaking at 4-1 down.
This is the question mark for me. Can he keep up with FSR and the breaking in of things? And there, our first drive break of the match. Sounded like he hit him a little full. Looked like he hit him a little full on the one. It's a fine line there at the cut break. Looks like he's got a piece of the one. He's going to try and edge it down the table, come back behind the green 6, using the 9 and 8 as well. Cue ball's got to go. That's why the 9 and 8 are so important. He was kind of stuck in between, meaning it was very hard to do both. Keep the one behind the 8-9 and get the cue ball all the way behind the green 6. He was looking to see if there was a gap, just some edge on the one between the 8-9. And I'll tell you, if I would have thought a little more about it, I don't think I would have went away from my pick. But as far as a non-American, might have picked Yap. He's a good friend of mine, one guy that I love his game. And I'll tell you, he's already won some big tournaments around the world. Wait till he wins one of these World Nineball Tour events. I think things could really open up for him, especially because he's improved the break so much. All right, he is getting at this one through the 8-9, trying to bring the cue ball behind the pink, maybe behind the brown. He'll take it.
Yeah, you're saying non-American because at the last tournament I've imposed this new rule. You're not allowed to pick Americans because, let's face it, you were doing it in every single event, JJ. You are allowed to tip the Americans in one event, Mosconi.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll do that for the rest of my life. And I'll tell you the one near the side, but not a whole lot of routes to get easily added, especially with the elevated over the pink 4. Play all ball fouls here, of course. Touch anything, anything moves. You surrender ball in hand. And he may have to kick at this to the short cushion. What he's looking at is trying to hit right before the side pocket on the rail. And chip the one. He can't make it doing that, but chip it down the rail, maybe guide the cue ball over behind the 2 and 8. Very hard from this angle to gauge it. You know, if the cue ball's more towards the middle of the end rail there, the top rail, a lot easier to gauge this shot. That's why I thought he may take, you know, a look at kicking to that short rail and maybe pocket the one. If you have to add any side spin to this, super treacherous, especially being elevated over the pink 4. This is the type of shot you get in behind it a little bit, Michael. You may not get a cushion after contact because you're not going to hit this very hard, or at least I wouldn't think so. Watch out for the scratch cross side as well. Okay, trying to get some luck. I think he's going to get it. He just rolled the dice there, knowing he was in a terrible spot.
So Jeff DeLuna on the main table earlier today. We'll be seeing him again in a little while. And it was DeLuna who Biado teamed up with to reach the World Cup of Pool final back in 2019. They were heavily beaten there by Austria.
Yeah, when the one's this close, he's going to attempt something, maybe softly run across it, use the 3 and 4 like that. Oh my, I thought he was going to get a scratch. Good shot. Excuse me, the 3 and 5. Oops. Play a little side. Ralph's okay now with a 6-5 lead over Raga.
Yeah, he's really turned that round, hasn't he? Because Raga had the upper hand by a couple of racks early on. Winner of that will play the winner of this in the last 32 later today. Naoki Oi is on the hill, incidentally. 9-4 now against Emil Leonor. No, that's just gone 9-5.
Kind of felt like he could play the cue ball under the pink here, just kind of chipping the one. Problem is he doesn't want the one to roam over this side rail, and you know, just in case he doesn't get behind the pink, give up a real playable shot offensively. So now hitting down on the ball. of a shot here. Andy opened up the 3-5 to where, you know, it's doable now. So I feel like a big shot in this match, especially the way FSR is breaking the balls. If he gets this one down and draw shape on the 2, this deficit is definitely going to grow, but it could grow much larger for Carlo Biado. Safe here. Cue ball is kind of going away from the 2 a little bit, so it may have to come all the way down below the 2. We'll see. It's a pretty confident strike, Michael, right there off the end rail. You can hear the 1 hitting the dead center, back of the pocket.
That's what I was saying earlier, that it's so reminiscent of what was going on in the early part of this year. Just the signs and the way he's walking around and his body language. It's a degree of confidence that hasn't exhibited to the same extent in the last few months.
On another big one here. You come 2 rails between the 6-7 for a little cut on the 3. Gets this one down, he should get out. Way thick. You know, we talk about that pause at the cue ball. FSR's isn't real big, but it's usually there. And that one he missed. A little settling of the tip before the last stroke. You know, Carlo doesn't get enough credit sometimes coming with the big long ones or the power shots. It seems like when it's really needed, he does come with it. And now a big one here. I don't think he can go forward. I think he's got to draw this maybe short side on the red 3. Always cueing a little on the left, and then as he makes the final swing, tip goes to the desired position. Oh wow, really good.
No lack of confidence in that shot. Starting to feel like quite a big rack, this one, even though it's still at a relatively early stage of the match.
Yeah, and I wonder, is he in position to push the 5 over in front of the pocket here as he gets position onto the 4? Yeah, you see that right there? Like, I would have, you know, the 4's pretty easy. I would have looked at maybe a little high ball there and pushed the 5 over a little to where position on it becomes a little easier. But now he's moved it just a few inches, and that makes a little difference.
We talked earlier about the importance of trying to keep control, but when you're in play and potting the balls, it's all about trying to make it as easy as possible for yourself. And it's related to what you're saying about the 5 ball.
Yeah, you don't want to move balls too often. You don't want to bump them, but here and there. But when it makes sense, and then sometimes, you know, players, not so much on this level, but you're always told don't bump them, you know, but they'll avoid them, and it actually costs mistakes at times. So it was 4 in a row for FSR to start. Now Carlo looking to cut that in half.
Had a few twists in the last couple of racks. There's a big one. Clearly trying to contain his frustration at that. Looks absolutely crestfallen, and again we see how quickly it can all change. As you were saying, there was a chance to get the deficit back to half what it was earlier. Now could be staring at 5-1, but not guaranteed.
No, and during that run, all these long ones, FSR was as good as anyone. Definitely attack. Just trying to figure out, he does that measurement when he's up on top, and a pretty free swinger when he gets down. I think he has options. Doesn't want to roll it so much. He likes to pull the ball when he can. Watch out for the corner here. Really good. You don't want to force this for that easier 9 in the side if it's not there. You just pop this one rail towards the 9, should be okay. Yeah, like that. Just remind yourself how great you are at pocketing the ball.
Big rack that. Carlo Biado had the chance to get back to 4-2. Surprising miss on the 7. FSR still had work to do, but it's job done now. He's halfway to victory. It's 5-1. Carl Amoroto much closer to the line. He now leads Patrick Gonzalez 9-6. Oscar Dominguez and Takashi Arauca are level at 6-all. Oliver Villafuerte has got one back against Lucius Yap. He's now 6-2 down. He's at the table, looking to win the next one. Niels Fyan 6-4 ahead of Tyler Steyer. Sanyan Pelovanovic leading Alexa Peixels 4-1. Naoki Oi on the rack at 9-6, on the hill rather, at 9 racks to 6 against Emil Leonor. 6-all between Anton Raga and Ralph Suke.
Yeah, you see all those names on the other tables. That's the junior event going on.
Yeah, that'll be coming to a finish tomorrow, and I imagine our coverage will at some stage include a look in on that. 5-1 here then. Tyler Steyer's just got one back against Niels Fyan, so closing to 6-5. And that's one of those matches we're keeping a particularly close eye on from a Mosconi context. I don't really think they're playing to try and dislodge Shane Van Boning from that third automatic spot, because that's not really going to happen. So it's all about, well, impressing you, JJ. And by the way, Tyler Steyer, after his match last night to get through to the final 64, I'm not kidding, I'd say it was about 2 minutes between the end of that match and him starting a session on the practice tables. Now that's impressive. And you weren't even here to see him.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about things like that. You know, if he doesn't feel good about something he had in the last match, he'll definitely address it quickly. And, you know, Tyler, of course, putting in all the effort all the time. I think he's learned a lot about himself the last year or so, and just learned how to free it up a little bit, and I think it's paying dividends in his game. And boy, might get punished for that mistake on the 7. It was a huge miss from Carlo Biado, and now he's just got to stay patient and wait and see if the pool gods and FSR allow him back anytime soon.
Yeah, one thing I would say about Biado is never really seems to let his head drop, but perhaps one or two signs of that starting to come into play here.
All right, funny little combo, a little off angle. Yeah, he's got to draw the ball. He may not end up with that great of a shot, but he didn't want to get snookered, right? So very smart. This is one of the last matches, or all the last matches of the first round of this final 64 are in play. I think we'll have some round 2 starting soon if we don't already.
Yeah, due to start in about 10 minutes time.
Now you can cut this to either pocket. He's got some safety options as well. You got to believe he's going to attack. Not only is that the mentality for these greats, but you know, he's been knocking them in so far anyway, so why slow down? I wonder which way he goes here. He's looking to cut it by the 7, it appears. Really nice shot. Needs to slow down a little bit. He's going to be near the 3, so he can handle a lot. He's playing with a lot of confidence. He's got a little on the 50 here. Look in just a moment. It's kind of a little odd because the side pocket, so he's kind of got to send it out to the left and bend it back with a little spin. And he didn't get a ton out of the spin, but should be good enough. Really the perfect combination when you think about, or at least what I think about as ideal, is someone that really is a worker at the table. But then again, when he's down on the ball, very much committed, it becomes very much the player then as well. That's what you have to figure out for yourself, and what combination of that agrees with you. And now out for his biggest lead of the match in 5 games.
Looks like he's really enjoying it out there. Wouldn't have expected to be in this sort of position against Carlo Biado. He's playing well. He's firmly on top here. And he's closing in on a place in the final 32. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz leads Carlo Biado 6-1. Kyle Amoroto, young player from the Philippines, was in the last 16 of the UK Open earlier in the year. He's 1 win away from getting there again in the Hanoi Open, because it's now all over. He's beaten Patrick Gonzalez 10-6 and will play either Oscar Dominguez or Takashi Orauka. They're level at 6-all. Oliver Villafuerte, I told you, was trying to get back to 6-3 down, having trailed 6-1 against Lucius Yap. He has now done that. No change on Niels Fyan and Tyler Steyer, still 6-5 to Fyan. Sanyan Pelovanovic leads Alexa Pechel's 4-1 in the Balkans clash. And Yuki Oi is still not through. He still needs one more. Leads Emil Leonor by 9 racks to 7. Anton Raga with his nose in front now against Ralph Souquet once again at 7-6. Looks as though the winner of that is likely to play Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, because he leads here by 6 racks to 1. He's come up dry, but he's had a result.
Yeah. Again, that huge 7-ball he missed, thoroughly getting punished. Now the first dry break of the match for FSR, and look where the cue ball is. Just squarely pinned behind the purple 5, and this is where the push-outs become very difficult. One out in the middle of the table, you certainly don't want to roll out to something offensive. It's not going to take much time, so I wonder what kind of safety he's going to be leaving here. So this will be not that hard of a safety. There's going to be some options, but the first one I see is bank the 1 up mildly behind the 3 off this bottom rail, and then just coast the cue ball behind the green 6. You don't mind leaving something that's doable on the push out, but you don't want it to be natural. You want them to have to put a little English on it, really worry about the speed, maybe something like that. And you can see not taking long on a decision, and I think he is doing that shot. 1 behind the 3-4, cue ball behind the green 6. And see how natural and easy he could roll the ball there. I think Carlo would need to look at a little better place to push. Now a big underdog and a difficult hit on the 1.
Second round that we've seen today, the last 32, has got underway a little ahead of schedule actually. The likes of Federal Gorst and David Al-Kaidi in action, so I'll give you details on that shortly.
I think Al-Kaidi's playing Wolford, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Great hit. I don't think he's going to get much love from it. Maybe. Wow, the pink 4 covering up the pocket for the 1. sits in a very odd manner, Michael. I don't get another look here in a moment, but I don't really see a whole lot from that first glance right after the shot. See FSR not liking it much at all. He immediately got down and took on the push out. So that's what I kind of like. He's looking to bank the one, or shoot the one into the pink, bank the pink over, come 2 rails and a soft 3rd rail, kind of going behind the 8. Let's see. I think it's there. Have to hit off his right side of the one with a top left spin. Now the only problem I have with this shot is he going to get any contact on the pink 4 here with the cue ball as it's trying to bypass these balls. Oh, he got a kiss on the 1. Boy, but look, just little things though, right? He does have a shot on the 1, but he knocked the 3 into an awful position on the side rail. Not saying it's not playable, but it's going to be difficult. So Carlo's got to regroup. I think if he can get out here, it'd be a great time for a timeout. Go have a little talk with yourself, you know, maybe a little splash of water on the face and try and make what is going to be kind of a medium comeback here. Watch out 5. Watch out 5. Okay. He's all right.
He was pretty close to not being all right, though, wasn't he? That catches the 5 a little thinner. Could have been different.
And I wonder how straight he is on the 2. The 2's close enough to the pocket. He should be able to cheat it and get a little closer to the red 3. This is the type of shot you want to hit with like a rolling high ball, if you can, and that agrees with the position. I mean, you can shoot it a number of ways. He's close enough as far as preference. I'm just saying percentages on making it. Oh, really nice.
Well, twice we saw him come from a long way behind to get right back into things in the US Open semi-final when these two met this month last year in Atlantic City. Needs to bring something similar now, and this could be the place where it begins.
You know, as tough as the break rule is, you know, I say tough meaning it just comes and goes. Can you get by this 9 here? You know, in the winter break format, now these pockets not as tough as that US Open, but they're not easy. You know, you got to be mentally ready for a 6-1 deficit or a 5-1 deficit, 7-2, something like that. Just understand that's going to happen from time to time. Nice shot there, an odd stretch. Seems like he's trying to play pretty fast here, right? Like he almost has to do something to slow himself down. Remember, you can't make them up in a hurry. You got to take them as they come. See, to me, he looks a little edgy.
Yeah, everything about his demeanor and his facial expressions underlines that he knows how important it is to win this rack.
Yeah, and you saw he overcut the 7 to the pocket. That's why this cue ball fell below the 8. And now what looked to be a routine 8-9, he's got to just pay attention to. I like him keeping it simple here. He knew a couple other shots that he could really put some speed on the cue ball and probably comes okay, but I like him that simple right there to get back on the board.
Yeah, he'd lost a couple in a row, really, having got it back to 4-1. Lead was extended to 6-1. One of those where it's still just about manageable, but if it gets much bigger, it looks like a very big task indeed. So it was key for him to win that one, particularly when he got such a good chance to do so. Biado has got there and closed to 6-2 behind. Naoyuki Oi is really being made to battle by Amiel Leonor of the Philippines out on table 13, because now the lead is reduced to 9-8. Anton Raga also one in front, 7-6 against Ralph Souquet. It's just gone 7-all in that one. And Niels Fine has won the 12th rack to go 7-5 up on Tyler Steyer. Oscar Dominguez winning rack 13 now leads Takashi Urauka 7-6. Now in the last 32, they're getting started there. Ahmad Taufik of Brunei has won the first against two-time world champion Torsten Homan. Fedor Gorst now of the US has won the first rack against Jeffrey Roda. Ivan Corteza leading the All-Philippines clash against Bernie Regulario 1-0. David Alcady has won the first 2 racks against Shane Wolfert.
Yeah, and his best break of the match, he hadn't had but a couple. Blue 2 kisses the cue ball, stays near. I believe the 3 does go by the 4. One of the easiest layouts of this match so far. He just got to pinch his back a little bit. The 5 over the side here after he knocks in the red 3 and the pink 4. Really should be the 6-3 here pretty soon. Just got to maintain.
Well, we've had some long racks in this match. This doesn't look like being one of them. All of a sudden, it looks like a very different contest now.
Yeah, the closest you can be after 9 racks is 5-4, so just a step off that if he can get out here. I'll tell you, it feel good the way he broke the balls in this game. Mentally, anyways.
So we got back to 3 behind at 4-1. Lost the next couple of racks. But by winning 2 in a row, Carlo Biado, the break and run, has closed to 6-3 behind against the world champion, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Keeping a close eye, as I was saying, on Anton Raga and Ralph Souquet. Winner of that plays the winner of this. That one is 7-all. And Emil Leonor is now levelled at 9-all against Naoki Oi. That could be a big story going on table 13. Winner of that will play either Sanyan Pelovanovic or Alexa Pechelj. 4-1 to Pelovanovic there at the moment.
Yeah, I believe that Oi match was 9-4.
He was certainly well in front. Yeah, it was something along those lines anyway. Niels Fine 7-5 against Tyler Steyer. Lucius Yap 7-3 against Oliver Villafuerte, who had pulled a couple back, but Yap has won the 10th rack there. Fedor Gorst in the last 32 round is 2-0 up on Jeffrey Roda. Ivan Corteza has stretched his advantage to 3-0 over Bernie Regulario. I think they're the only scores that have changed since I last updated you, because the last rack was a fairly swift one. Biado won it, and he's back to 6-3.
Oh, an awful kiss on the cue ball, a couple of them, and that's going to slow him down and maybe give up a 2-9 combination to get FSR back on the board. And I say a 2-9 combination because it's a 5-9 otherwise. Why wouldn't you shoot it with ball in hand? SVB got that same 2 little kisses. Now he's looking like he can't get at the 2-9. I thought he could easily make the 2-9. Maybe the 5's in the way. He's got to have a look at this again. I think this goes. Now, if there's any question, certainly don't shoot it. You just play for the 5-9 later in the rack. But that's not an easy combination, just because the 8's there and it's hard to get just ideal on it. Yeah, now I see the 5. Yeah, it's real close. And actually the 8's not too bad. The kiss shot off the 5 with the cue ball into the 9 isn't terrible either. But I think if this does play, as long as you're not, you know, kind of pushing the envelope here, you got to shoot it with ball in hand, I think, just because you get to put the cue ball in the most ideal position. And you can play a little safety behind the black 8 as well, just in case you happen to miss the 9.
Talk about how quickly things can change in this game. One break that goes wrong for Carlo Biado, and suddenly that momentum that he was threatening to start building up has ebbed away just a bit there. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz back with a healthy lead again at 7-3, and they've both decided it's an appropriate moment to take a step away. So we will look at other scores as we see that 2-9 combination again. 7-all between Anton Raga and Ralph Souquet. Naoyuki Oi and Emil Leonor in that hill finish. Alexa Pechel just got one back against Sanyan Pelovanovic. That one is 4-2 now. 7-6 for Niels Fine over Tyler Steyer. Lucius Yap has got another one. Leads Oliver Villafuerte 8-3. Oscar Dominguez is also at 8. And that's a much closer one against Takashi Arauca. It's 8-6. You can see there on the other side of your screen the All Balkans clash between the two great pals, Pechelj and Pelovanovic. That's in this round as well. In the last 32, Ahmad Taufik of Brunei 2-0 up on former world champion Torsten Homan. Federal Gorse leads Jeffrey Roda by the same score. Levan Corteza very much in charge of things against young Bernie Regilario. That's 4-0, and still 2-0 for David Al-Qaedi in his match against Shane Wolford. The news on Naoyuki Oi is that he has held on. He's beaten Emil Leonor by 10 racks to 9. And he will now play the winner of this match. We're looking at here on table 2. Alexa Pechelj, who such a good run at the US Open, got to the semi-finals there. Pelovanovic was someone who was very consistent at getting through to the later stages of all these sorts of events in 2022. Played brilliantly in the Premier League earlier in the year, leading it for a lot of the way, ended up in the semi-finals, but he's given up ball in hand here. So much going on in the Balkans region now, which both of these players come from. Massive participation. Some really good players coming through, like these two, and a lot of really good quality tournaments being staged in that southeastern corner of Europe, including a number of counting events towards the world rankings. Pechelj actually won one of those in August. His first ranking title. Broke his leg falling downstairs only last year. He's turned that to his advantage actually, because he used the time he was laid off to read up a lot about sports psychology, and he feels it's done him the world of good since he returned to action. So close to getting to the semi-finals of the UK Open last year. Just beaten by Joshua Filler, and he was absolutely heartbroken at the end of that one. Back to only one behind then against Pelovanovic at 4-3. Still waiting for the players to return. On the main table, Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, if you've not been with us, was 6-1 up at one stage against Carlo Biado. And these are some of the moments from that last rack we've just seen on table 2. From 6-1, Biado got it back to 6-3. The second of those back-to-back racks that he won included his first break and run of the contest, and then scratched off the break on the next rack, and FSR won it very quickly, making a 2-9 combination to clinch a 7-3 lead, which leaves him looking for only 3 more now. The winner of that one will face either Anton Raga or Ralph Souquet. I told you how close that's been. 7-all there at the moment. Looks from here as though Oliver Villafuerte has got another one back against Aloysius Yap. It was 6-1 to Yap earlier on. It seems to now be 8-4. Yeah, I've just seen Villafuerte leave the table, and then the referee started racking the balls, so we'll confirm that. Yap still firmly in control of that one though.
Carlo with a makeable ball here, but really so much traffic to try and navigate through to get up on the blue 2 and then back down for the red 3 as well. So this is when the racks start to really become difficult, and they're all difficult, don't get me wrong, but let's say more difficult. He wants to attack, he doesn't want to play safe, but didn't get there either. He needs the one to slow down a bit. It has come out. Not sure if it's makeable or not. It's close.
Second dry break in a row from Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He'd not had any prior to that. A couple of break and runs early on in the match, which really put him in a very solid position.
Ralph's okay, 8-7.
Yeah, playing Anton Raga, who my pick for the title actually. That great run in Fulda and got to the final. Nothing great about that shot though, and certainly not the outcome of it.
I think his first missed ball of the match, I believe, that I can recall anyways.
Alexa Pechelge incidentally continuing to recover. 4-3 down against Sanyan Pelovanovic. He was trailing 4-1 at one stage. That was the match we were just looking in on table 2. You can go to Matchroom Multisport YouTube at any stage if you want to watch the table 2 action. Or you could just stay here with us and watch 2 of the best players of recent years.
And I really think that's the sweetest part of my job, being a former player, is seeing those youngsters really evolve, like Alexa and Sanjin and so many others. And it's just, it's pretty sweet. You know, you kind of see the talent, and you see them get stronger between the ears and just make little improvements, and then it starts to come together. It did there in the U.S. Open for Alexa, and I think it will continue for both those young men. All right, a lot of angle here, a lot of traffic as the cue ball has to go left towards the 8 and 9. And then again, he needs something nice on the 2 to get back on the 3. So very much speed important here. Really good. It's going to be queuing over the pink 4 a little bit. came clean of it. Actually, he's really just a perfect position. Does need to carry an angle on the red 3 though. So does he use the second cushion here, or does he just come one rail off? I like kind of one rail like that. That way you always have that angle, and if he gets over the 8, this has become much more difficult just by that extra inch of the roll of the cue ball.
Carlo Biado went into this year as number 30 in the world. He's improved just one place to 29th. I think really that's a ranking that reflects more a lack of involvement in these sorts of events over the last couple of years. I think most people would feel Biado probably belongs somewhere in or around the top 10 in the world. If he starts playing more of a full schedule, I suspect that's where he's likely to be.
Yeah, and he's like so many others, just gets stronger as the event goes, and you know, it doesn't always work out for you, but that's what you want. He's making a little gritty out here, much needed as well, and he's going to have a bit of a stretch here. Very good with the rest, oddly enough. Philippines not so sure back in the day when he was learning how much they use the rest. They'd shoot behind their back quite often, and you know, good opposite-handed as well. If you ever watched Effort play the opposite-handed, you might not even realize he's right-handed. It's got to go. So every shot could have used a little inch or more out of the cue ball. Should be okay here. Can come back for the 7 in the side, or just come 2 rails across for the 7 in the corner. Still got to get back for the 8 though.
Some signs a little earlier that his head was maybe threatening to start dropping. He's battling back with determination now, and 3 more balls will mean he's won 3 of the last 4 racks.
I'm surprised he tried to come across there. That was dangerous. Could have just stayed in the center of the table and taken a little cut. You know, it would have been unlucky to get snookered, but he definitely brought it in play.
This contest is still very much alive. Once again, Carlo Biado closes the gap to 3 racks. It's 6-3 to the world champion. Ralph Souquet, a couple of racks away from going through to face the winner of this. He's 8-7 up against Anton Raga. Alexa Peschelj has continued to turn things around against Sanyan Pelivanovic. That one's 4-all now. Niels Fyan 7-6 up on Tyler Steyer. Lucius Yap does lead Oliver Villafuerte 8-4. And Oscar Dominguez still 8-6 over Takashi Orauka. In the last 32, Jeff DeLuna has won the first against Michael Angelo Feliciano. Ahmad Taufik 4-0 up now on Torsten Homan. Fu Che Wei and Jan van Lierop level at 1-all. Fedor Gorst has won the first 3 against Jeffrey Roda. Ivan Corteza has won the first 5 in the All-Philippines clash with young Bernie Regilario, who we saw on the main table earlier. And Shane Wolford has won the 3rd rack to close to 2-1 down against David Al-Kaidi. Carlo Biado on the comeback trail.
Oh, there's that kiss again. Wow, he dodged it that time. That would have been so brutal. Now he's in a great position near the blue too, and I'll tell you, he's breaking the balls really well. Seems like the perfect timing and great spreads. Always going to be a sweat as that cue ball zigzags across the table as far as kisses, and sometimes you get a golden break from it.
Jason Shaw and Johan Chua, incidentally, just to keep you updated, will be the next match on this main table. That's in the last 32. Sorry, JJ.
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, occasionally you get a golden break, but say more often than a golden break, sometimes the cue ball gets lost off those kisses. Got to just keep it together here the first couple shots, and the rack will open up. Kind of see from a distance, it looked like Oscar Dominguez missed a 6 ball to go up 9-6. I think it's now 8-7, Oscar. Gotta check the score. Got a little more of a cut here on the 5 than he probably desired, but very manageable. Probably comes above the side. Could just float out to the middle for an angle on the 6. All right, he's going to come above, get a little straighter, so he's going to play a little short side on the 7. Just got to pay attention. Doesn't want to fall too straight.
Yeah, it is 8-7 now for Oscar Dominguez over Takashi Urauka. Lucius Yap, meanwhile, has gone to the hill at 9-4 against Oliver J. Villafuerte.
Yeah, and I watched that Fuerte play at the Hanoi Open. And another Filipino that you're going to remember that name. He can play, and it's like everyone got a little room for improvement as well. The Filipino blood just seems to run out a little better than most.
Biado is starting to play very nicely now. He was 6-1 down. He's very much had the upper hand since then, winning 4 of the last 5 racks. He's only 2 behind now. FSR's lead trimmed once again, this time to 7-5. Niels Fine 8-6 up on Tyler Steyer. Ralph Souquet is on the hill now, 9-7 against Anton Raga. What a result that would be for Souquet if he could win that, just a few weeks away from his 55th birthday. Federal Gorst has won another rack in the last 32 round, the one after the one we're watching here. He leads Jeffrey Roda 4-0. Jan van Lierop 2-1 up on Fu Che Wei. Ahmad Tawfiq of Brunei has got a 4-1 lead over Torsten Homan. And they are the only scores I can see that have changed since I last updated you. A lot of the junior matches going on as well. Standard issue now, really, to have one of these big junior events going on alongside one of the Matchroom Open tournaments. Look how many people are in the hall, by the way, Jeremy. You can see it from that wide shot that we saw. Wonderful to see on this Friday in Hanoi. Carlo Biado back to 2 behind.
Sounds like a dry guy here on the break, and at the worst time for Carlo. Looks like he will give up a shot on the 1. Nothing easy, but definitely playable for FSR. I'll tell you, it's amazing. It's like from one place that we go to the next, it just seems to get better and better. And not only the fans here, you know, we often wonder in some locations if we don't have a player from that country run deep, you know, what's it going to be like? No question here, it doesn't matter who's in that final 16 come the weekend, it's going to be a packed house. This is a floater, and the problem he's trying to figure out is not only he's got to knock in a nice 1, but he's going to get a little distance away from the 2, it seems, and can he find a route to get up table on the 3? See a little shake of the head there for Francisco. And this is the problem getting on the 3 is he can get on the 3-7 combination, meaning there's routes to do that. But to get on the 3 to the clean pocket, which is only one corner there on the upper part of the table, it's not going to be easy.
You were talking there about the home contingent. 6 Vietnamese players actually made it through to today's final 64. The only country with more is Philippines with that remarkable haul of 17. But all 6 of the Vietnamese players have now lost in the last 64, so no more prospect of a home winner of this tournament. But they've made, I think, perhaps a slightly bigger impact than we might have expected as a group overall.
Oh no, they've been fantastic, and you know, just play the percentages and what you see around here in Hanoi, and you just know there's going to be some greats coming from Vietnam, and it's not going to take too long. Some champions of these tournaments.
Well, some very good players from Spain. He's at the forefront of them. But he didn't get there by missing balls like this. This could be another significant moment.
Yeah, you could see a little body movement there, and I think that's more of he's gotten better at that. He used to move a little more on the shot at times, but I think that was a little more after he struck it. He just wasn't sure if it was any good, and it certainly wasn't. And a difficult shot here for Carlo, not pocketing the two, but gaining some kind of position on the three. It's got to be the draw stroke.
Sanchez Ruiz starting to look a bit concerned in his chair there. Much more concerned than you would ever expect to be in a match where you were at one stage 6-1 in front, and you've just had a chance like that. So Biado can get back to only one behind now. Last time he was in that position was at the end of the opening rack. Oh, another twist.
Yeah, and when the ball's deep in the pocket and you're coming across the middle of the table, it's just hard to predict. He's got to draw the cue ball. He's got to turn it loose a little bit. And so often we have to gamble in 9-ball pool, and that one hurt. See a little arc on the cue ball, and he knew it was trouble. Little body language just sometimes helps, it seems, Michael, but it was just not to be there. So Francisco with a little chink in the armor of late, couple dry breaks, couple missed balls. Now you wonder why he's playing the 3-7. It's because the 6 and 8 are grouped on one side of the table. If he takes the 7 away, now he doesn't have to go from the 6 to the 7 to the 8, and a lot of cue ball movement. So just like we talk about bumping balls, you want to stay away from combos if you can, but if they make sense, you want to play it.
Say he's been doing badly since he had that great start to the year, winning the World Championship and then the Premier League within a few weeks of each other. But there's no doubting his return in terms of results has declined significantly since then. Has been to a couple of quarterfinals, UK Open, European Open, but last 32 in defence of his US Open title, last 64 at the Spanish Open. Along with David O'Cady, who went out in the first round in defence of their World Cup title, and he also lost his opening match at the World Masters. So he's come here looking to get his year firmly back on track. He's a couple of wins away here from eliminating a potential rival for the title. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz taking advantage of ball in hand to now lead Carlo Biado 8-5. Ralph Souquet leading the battle to face the winner of this one. It's 9-7 now against Anton Raga. 4-all, no change between Alexa Peixels and Sanjin Pelovanovic. Niels Fine looking for two more, leads Tyler Steyer 8-6. Lucius Yap on the hill at 9-4 against Oliver J. Villafuerte. Oscar Dominguez on the hill as well, leading Takashi Orauka 9-7. They're all looking to get into the last 32. In that round, Jeff DeLunas won the first couple of racks against Michael Feliciano. Ahmad Taufik of Brunei leads Torsten Homan 4-2. Jan van Lierop 3-1 up on Fu Che Wei. Federal Gorst flying 4-0 over Jeffrey Roda. Ivan Cortese even further along the road at 6-0 over Bernie Regilario. Now we're up to date. It's gone dry here.
Yeah, this break has changed mid-match towards the end for FSR big time. One thing about it, he's got that lead, so he won't have to break the balls many more times to win the match, but that is a little concerning.
3 dry breaks in a row now for him.
Yeah, and if he wasn't queuing over the 3, I think he just attempts a safety here of some sort. You may see a push out. Yeah, he pushed out to really, he could only get directly at the right side of the one. So that means if you go off the right side of the one, the cue ball is going to end up on the left side of the table pretty much. Pretty bare on the left side of the table. So I wonder if he takes this on. Yeah, trying to come behind the purple off of 3 cushions. Wanted to just drift slowly off that 3rd cushion behind the purple file. He caught it thick. It's going to hurt a little bit. Not going to leave the easiest shot, and certainly not easy to get positioned, but normally doesn't miss his mark by that much on these safeties. See if he's going to attack here. I think he is. He's going to try and go around the 9. I think short side. He may bump the 2 off the 3rd rail here. Yeah, and that's just, he hit it great, but the pocket, you know, he cut it to the upper side of the pocket so the cue ball lengthened a little more, and that's why he didn't get underneath the 2. But should be able to play a decent safety coming behind.
What's he facing here, JJ?
Yeah, not anything offensive. I think, you know, he's a little worried about where the 2's going as he brings the cue ball back behind the 4-9, I suspect. But I think the 4-9's there in such a good place, meaning gives you about a foot space or so to bury the cue ball. Just ignore the 2 and run the cue ball, see what happens. sometimes when you get involved in trying to control both, you kind of miss your mark on both. And I think here he's just got to worry about the white ball. That's it. Yeah, just go ahead and play it. See how he's bringing the cue ball behind the 4-9. You know, if there's a gap there, there's a gap. And he did real well. Especially trying not to stress in that spot. I mean, an 8-5 lead is a nice lead. He knows Carlo could overcome any lead, really, but, you know, no time to stress if you're FSR. I think one thing that's on your mind without even knowing it is after you have a few dry breaks, you know, it just becomes a little mental, and also watching Carlo break the ball so well here as the match goes on. 9-ball. Ooh.
Well, it looks from there as though he's left a chance at the 2.
The 2 does play. He may need a hair of right spin to kind of throw it in, but oh, definitely he can get at it. Oh, he's overcut it. And that happens a lot when you have a tight one, Michael. What happens is you're like looking at it and you're like, oh, let me just hit as much of the ball as I can. And because it's so tight and I should be good, and then you end up overcutting it.
A bit of fortune with the way they've run. Carlo Biado really love to win one of these big events again. US Open champion only 2 years ago, but he's missed a lot of the tournaments since then as the tour's really been expanding and featuring so many more weeks like this. He wants to be right back in there at the heart of the action and showing everyone he should be in that bracket of players who are winning events. Been shared around so much this year.
Yeah, and it's amazing that the Filipino players sometimes have some trouble with visas, and it's a fickle thing that I don't know near enough about. Is he going for this? For the cross-side bank? It looks like it. He's gonna take it in his own hands. Is it just a hair short? You can see how brutal the knuckles and how tight the side pockets. Side pockets are foolers. When you look at them, they feel like they're a little bigger than the corners, but you have no room to slide the ball in.
Trying to make something happen to spark a turnaround. Valiant effort. Slide his opponent back in. This could be the chance for Sanchez Ruiz to start. Proper dash for the line here. Was in firm control earlier on. His grip on the match has been loosened a bit. If he can get it done here and go to 9-5, not impossible, but hard at the moment to envisage Biado winning 5 racks in a row.
Yeah, it looks like he's got perfect here. You don't want to be straight here. Just a little soft angle to draw back for the 5. Now, when he draws back, he needs to stay, if he can, off the rail. That may not be so avoidable, but definitely wants to carry an angle on the purple 5. You'll notice the 6 doesn't go by in the 8 in the side. Doesn't go in the upper corner because the 7. So playing from underneath. Ooh, my. Starting to feel it out here a little bit, Michael, and ball you just don't see him miss, but maybe once a year, twice a year.
It's not the first unexpected miss he's had in the last part of the match. Earlier on, we were saying this looks like the FSR we were seeing 8 or 9 months ago. for some time before that as well, but some of the edginess that's perhaps stopped him building on all the success he had over the last few months when he's gone out a lot of tournaments quite early. He's creeping back in here.
Oh no, oh no.
Sanchez Ruiz, when he's made some of these mistakes in the last few racks, has got away with them. It's definitely happened here.
Well, you know, catching the 7 was the first mistake, but to get punished that badly, I would call that a little cruel. Didn't have to happen like that.
So the bad miss on his previous visit to the table. Sure to focus the mind just that little bit more. As he returns with another, indeed, much clearer chance. Raga is hanging on, and he's now taken it all the way against Ralph Suke. They're playing the deciding rack. Oh, wow! He's just massively overrun that. Goes in as planned, and then the 6 just keeps going and going, and the next thing you know, the 8 is thwarting the big plans he had here.
Well, that one's just hard to explain. I mean, I said a minute ago when he missed the 4, you see the body move a little bit, right? But that was a pretty soft shot, and I said he's feeling it, but I mean, maybe that one just completely fooled him, and now he's going to surrender ball in hand. So. They're sliding a little bit here, Michael. And I'll tell you, we saw a timeout earlier. I don't know exactly who took it. Both players are allowed to leave when one player takes a timeout. But if they had a chance to talk to each other, they might both agree it's time for a little timeout after this game as well. Oh my, oh my. He's lucky he bumped it just right.
I think either of them is really thinking clearly at the moment. Home crowd here just loving it. They know the game so well here. As a result, they know, watching two of the most successful players of recent years, they're not playing like it at the moment.
I'll tell you, it almost tells you why we love the game so much. It's a love-hate relationship in this game, and it grows even stronger as you play it longer. And you know, that's why it's hard to leave it. It's just never know what you're going to see. And that's by any level player also.
It does extraordinary things to your head, your mind. Normally you'd say surely it's going 8-6 now, but sure we would after the events of the last couple of minutes. It's one of those racks that whoever loses it now is going to be sick about it. Have plenty of regrets. And it looks as though the man losing it is going to be FSR.
Well, you and I talked about this week, we talk about it every week, that, you know, sometimes a favorite, he can play a little poorly whenever he's as an underdog after seeing some mistakes from his opponent. It kind of seems the same, you know, even with two of the best.
So, when Carlo Biado lost the opening rack, clearly he was one behind. Then it went 2-0 and all the way to 6-1. Did get back to 2 behind at 7-5. Now he's there again. Anton Raga and Ralph Suke still playing that deciding rack I was telling you about. Sanyan Pelovanovic reasserting himself at 6-4 against Alexa Pechelj. Niels Fayen is on the hill now at 9-7 against Tyler Steyer. And Oscar Dominguez is through, 10-7 win over Takashi Oraoka of Japan. Dominguez will now play Kyle Amoroto. The last 32, Jeff DeLuna 3-2 up on Michael Feliciano. Ahmad Tawfiq leads Torsten Homan by just a single rack at 5-4. Jan van Lierop 4-2 up on Fu Che Wei. James Aranis has won the first against Ko Pin Yi. 6-1 for Federer Gorst against Jeffrey Roda. Lee Van Cortez is still very much in control, although Bernie Gelario has come back a little bit. It's 7-2 in that. David Arcady is 4-2 up on Shane Wolford. Back to the main table.
Yeah, and a nice break off. He avoided those kisses coming back with the cue ball. Seems like that's been a sweater for Carlo every break shot. And now big shot on the 2 because there's a 3-9 looming. It's not easy, both the 2 and 3-9, but you got to believe that's the direction he's heading. Fluked it. No. Boy, he took a long time down on that ball, and the only reason I say that is he's not one that pulls the trigger real quick, but usually not down on it that long. And I wouldn't say it caused a miss. It was a tough shot anyways. I think Fran can get at the edge of this blue 2, so he may put the blue 2 up underneath the 3-9 as he carries the cue ball a couple rails around the table. We'll see. Yeah, that definitely looks like the shot to me. Not only that, he's very limited, so he's just got to worry about the corner where he's standing as far as the cue ball control and not losing the cue ball. Should be the 2 underneath the 3-9 as the cue ball comes a couple rails around the purple. Oh, he played the soft one. This is off pace. Really shocked he didn't run the cue ball there. Play a thinner one with the 3-6-9 there. There's a lot of cover. Carlo can do a whole lot here. Maybe chop the top of the 2, his right side of the 2, go 2 rails up behind the 8, trying to use the 8 and the 5 to get the snooker.
Still no white smoke emerging from table 4. Anton Raga and Ralph Souquet still playing that deciding rack. And the winner of that will take on the winner of this in the last 32. Still to come later today.
He's coming behind the 7, so this is dangerous. Could easily leave a bad situation. Yeah, and I thought that was always tough. But that's how it is in 9-ball pool. It's always going to be difficult, it seems. Now, can he just feather the 2 to the rail? Go into the green 6, trying to hold the cue ball, kind of squeeze it between the 3 and 9. It's always nervy when you're hitting at a small piece of the ball and at light speed, but I wonder also how close the 2 is to the cushion. We'll get another look here in a moment. Yeah, that looks okay to me, actually. Looks like he may be doing that. Just edge the 2 ever so lightly. Use the green 6 to slow the cue ball down like that. Did open up the 3 as well, just in case this 9 ball gets removed here on this kick shot.
how this contest has changed. You think back to the back-to-back break and runs Sanchez Ruiz had to lead 4-0. It was racing through those early racks, but we've had so many like this since then.
Yeah, and really even, you know, with Carlo making a couple mistakes, really, but he hasn't had a lot of love in this match. You know, when you talk about those borderline calls for a little bit of luck, but then Sanchez Ruiz didn't take advantage of those here late. Oh, great hit, great hit. But again, what a great hit. And now it's going to serve up a shot. And it did fall kind of straight, so maybe getting position on the red 3 not so easy. He's telling you right now how tough it is, and he's not looking to shoot from there. What he's looking to do is spin the cue ball into position from there because he is straight. So it'll be the draw stroke with some low right, trying to reverse off the rail up table.
Levan Cortez of the Philippines could be in the last 16, while a lot of the players are still contesting the last 64. He's on the hill at 9-2 against young Bernie Reggalario.
And I tell you, Levan must have really shorted up because got to watch him play early in this tournament. He was struggling. He was struggling big time. He was down some 9-5 in one of his matches against not a very well-known player. Did happen to squeeze out that win, and I guess really wonderful since. He had to play really well. He beat Roland Garcia, I think, in the final 64. Roland motivated by his absolute hero arriving in Efren Reyes. All right, he's just going to shave this 3. And this rack could start to get a little lengthy here because if he shaves it and doesn't hit, okay, nice. I mean, what's Carlo going to do here? Got a kick at the ball maybe, and maybe he just gives up ball in hand trying to tie something up. And like I said, this became a very tactical little game 16 and an important one. The 7's in the way and really giving up a good look at the kick shot. Don't know what he can do. Maybe roll the 9 on the 3 and give up ball in hand. I think he's got to go for this kick unless he feels really good about rolling the 9 on the 3. But the problem is he could easily get 3 fouled here with the 6 there. Meaning if he gives up ball in hand, Fran's got a lot of options to play a very secure safety. So you got to do it all here in 9-ball pool, Michael. You got to be the coach, the caddy, water boy, and then you also got to pull off shots. It's not easy.
It's the nature of individual sports, isn't it? It's all on you.
Yeah, but I mean, like some of them, you know, tennis, they got their guys in the box sweating them or whatever. Of course, but golf, they have a caddy out there to give them a little help. But in pool, we always have a running mate or two that we, you know, spin things off of and learn a lot from. But during the match, you just got to really do it all yourself.
Yeah, I see the point you're making. Now that Ralph Souquet, Anton Raga decider looks like it's turning into a real epic. I can see it here over on table 4. There seem to be 5 or 6 balls still left on the table, and they've been at it for a while. Raga at the table at the moment.
It seems like there's never a break and run hill, especially when we start to get towards the end of one of these events. Now Fran, who's very good with the cue ball, and, you know, this 9 a long ways from the pocket, but it does sit pretty decent for a kiss shot on the 9. Now it's the type of shot, if you shoot it and you miss, you know, people will be questioning you. You might be questioning yourself if you went on to lose the match behind that shot, but it is sitting okay. Now if he can play the 3 and cover it up again with the 9, he may just go behind the 7 and I tell you, Carlo may be in a position to, and a chance of losing this game at 3 fouls. I don't know if he comes all the way down here. Oh, he did. So another big decision for Carlo Biado.
Certainly not been a fight to come to without a tactical game to arm you. It's such a big part of the contest.
I think Ralph Souquet just jumped that ball in at Hill.
Yeah, it looks that way. Yeah, he returned to his chair to return the jump cue, so he's back at the table now. I think he's on the 4 ball.
Yeah, soft kick here from Carlo. Wants to just bump it. He's going to catch the 6 though, so he's on 2 fouls. And it could be a 3rd coming soon with the 3 bumped out of position again.
Yeah, just going back to Souquet, it looks as though it's actually the 3 ball. The table with a chance to claim the scalp of Anton Raga.
And what people don't realize, you know, as much a veteran as Ralph is, you know, making these big wins in close matches, that means a lot and will serve him really well trying to move forward and possibly win this title.
He's been progressing, hasn't he? Last 64 of the Spanish, last 32 of the European, last 16 of the US, so he's getting better and better as these open events have gone on over the summer and into the early autumn or fall.
Oh, he didn't get the cue ball down on the 9. If he gets it on the 9 on 2 fouls, he's a big favorite. Now, Carlo a big favorite to hit this red 3, and who knows. Yeah, and Ralph, you know, it's obvious he loves pool and probably just as much or more than anything in the world, but he's not out here just trying to spin his wheels, be a part of it. He truly believes he can get another big win, just like I think an interview he had a month or 2 ago. And okay, so now Carlo, what do you do with the kick shot? Do you put a lot of speed on this, trying to get lucky? Because that will give you a chance of scratching off this kick, which would end up costing you game number, what would that be, 15, and Fran going on the hill. Oh, I thought he had more of a direct route.
So the 3 foul possibility averted. What's he left for FSR?
He's left a thin one in the upper right corner. I think he should shoot at. In my opinion, anyways. It's tough. He's got to put top right English on it to come like 1 rail between the 5-7. And if he played safe, it's hard to knock that. And the only reason I say it is safe is like a, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but very, very high percentage. Whereas the cut shot is certainly missable.
From what I can tell from here, Ralph Souquet needs the 7, 8, and 9 balls to knock out the European Open finalist Anton Raga.
Yeah, big crowds, excuse me, around so many tables. Yeah, that's the shot I was talking about right there. A real nice one.
So he might not have got the 3 fouls, but a great chance now to win the rack anyway. This is what he's been doing for the last hour or so, just keeping Biado at arm's length.
Yeah, and he seems like he's really on the grind mode now, where, of course, earlier he was working, but, you know, the mood felt a bit different. Now trying to squeeze out this game to get on the hill.
It looks as though Ralph Souquet is going to win. In fact, he has won, because before Souquet even potted the 9, Anton Raga has conceded it. So it was the jump shot that got Suke in, and from there he ran it out. You know, he's been in the single elimination stage of all 5 of the Matchroom Open events this year. A wonderful achievement for someone who's going to be 55 next month, and he's advanced further in all but one of those. Now he's into the last 32 and 1 win away from emulating what he did at the US Open just a couple of weeks ago. And it looks increasingly likely that to get that win, he's going to have to beat Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, because even with everything that's gone on in the last few racks, I would still expect FSR is heading for the hill here.
Well, knowing Raga, of course, and you just got to believe Ralph's playing like, you know, he's one of the most consistent players. That's why he has so many titles. He just never fell too far from his game. And, you know, maybe not look like Earl Strickland all the time, but the way he played so consistently, it'd fool you how great it was. And I think whoever goes on to win this match is going to have their hands full.
Well, Carlo Biado started this match by losing 4 racks in a row. Unless he can end it by winning 4 in a row, his Hanoi Open hopes will be over, because it's 9-6 and the 3-rack gap is restored. Sanjan Pelovanovic, 8-6 up now against US Open semi-finalist Alexa Pechelj. Lucius Yap has won 10-4 against Oliver J. Villafuerte, and Niels Fyan has ended the campaign of Tyler Steyer with a 10-7 win. So I believe the match is going on tables 1 and 2 are the only ones left now in the last 64. We'll look at some last 32 scores in a moment. Sanchez Ruiz has come up dry in his last 3 breaks. Make that 4 in a row.
Well, he can leave that behind a little bit now. That'll be his last break of this match. The 9 got a little action nearing that lower corner pocket. Now Carlo with a very difficult decision.
In the last 32, Michael Feliciano leads the All-Philippines clash with Jeff DeLuna 5-4. Ahmad Taufik of Brunei 6-5 up now on Torsten Homan. Jan van Lierop leading Fu Che Wei 5-3. Ko Pin Yi and James Aranis, players who've both won Matchroom events this year, are level at 2-all. Fedor Gorst needs 2 more racks to advance. 8-3, he leads Jeffrey Roda. Ivan Cortez is still on the hill against Bernie Regalario, who's making a bit of a late charge, but probably a bit too late now. 9-4 there. David Alcady 5-2 up on Shane Wolford. They are in the last 32. FSR is 1 rack away from getting there.
Yeah, and this type of shot is where they're so much better than they were years ago, and maybe, you know, the equipment has gotten to where these shots are more doable. Really play this jump, not only getting over the 6, but with a lot of control to hold the cue ball. Yeah, he didn't hit it how he wanted there. He wanted to not disturb the balls as much and just bang the one above. All right, so does Carlo attack? I think so. It's not easy, but very playable shot. All right, wants to bring the cue ball between the pink and the purple, 2 cushions for some type of cut shot at the 2. I don't think he can get all the way down to the bottom rail. Really nice.
Yeah, so impressive to do it. That classic situation of knowing that if it goes wrong, it could be the end of his tournament.
Yeah, and motivated to knock the big one in to get back to the breaking in. He's broke the balls really well towards the end of this match. So definitely not out of the woods, that being FSR. Of course, not out yet here in game number 16. Carlo Biado's got to maintain.
17 players from the Philippines made this final 64. They couldn't all get through because some of them were playing each other. As it stands, there are 9 of them in the last 32. Biado, the only one still in action in this round, looking to take it into double digits.
Yeah, he's going to catch a little piece of the 9, just coming around the 6-8 still probably. Or he's going to get into the 8. So this has gotten the tester for sure.
And he's got previous of winning 4 in a row, as he needs to do here against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in a big match. Last year, as I was saying, he was 10-6 down in the semi-final of the US Open, race to 11. Won 4 in a row then, and that was only enough to take him to a decider, which he lost.
I think it's somewhat playable on both the side and the corner. Even though I gotta believe it's gonna be the corner. I thought he could roll forward and catch the, and come across towards the 9 for position on the 5, but he may have to draw this. He's gotta draw this. This pocket becomes much smaller. Tell you, we've seen some score lines throughout the day that with some big leads to start, but it seems like all the players prepared because given a chance, they're all making them close. Torsten was down 5-0, I think. Now it's 6-5. He only trails. You saw that match with Fedor Gorst earlier. He had a pretty big lead before playing a real tight one.
So Carlo Biado lose what was actually his first match at a walkover in the opening round. He was beaten by No Quang Trung in the first match he actually played. Won his first couple of matches comfortably enough on the loser's side. Had to get past Chang Yu Lung in loser's qualification. Of course, not only is going out early mean you have to win all those matches on the loser's side, it also leaves you open to a tough draw. 64. That's why Biado finds himself under so much pressure here. 9-6 down, really needed to make something happen on that 4. What he has made happen is a chance for Sanchez Ruiz to get this match done.
Yeah, a little let up on the downswing. That's normally when you overcut the ball, applying outside English. And certainly there, didn't get the thrust through the ball. That's why you saw the miss hit so much on the pink. And what a nice starter to try and finish the match. 5 goes by the 6, the 7 goes the upper left. Little work from the 7 to the 8 to the 9, but FSR should get on like his countrymen and one of his mates. Actually, he's got a few countrymen into that final 32. I think Comino beat Dennis Aculo earlier. I don't know if Delgado got in there though.
Yeah, I've got Comino starting out shortly against Max Lechner. Delgado was heavily beaten actually.
Yeah.
Ping Chung saw him off 10-1.
That's right. Because I was thinking to myself earlier, here comes Ko Ping Chung after an early loss in the event.
Same as Atlantic City a couple of weeks ago. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz hasn't lost a match. He's only played 2 prior to this. Walkover in the first round, then got the 2 remaining wins he needed to get through on the winner's side. It seems like a long time ago since he was leading 4-0 after back-to-back breaking runs in this one. Feels like a different match really, because it has been a very different contest since then. A lot of long drawn-out racks, unexpected misses and mistakes on both sides really. Carlo Biado has never quite got to the level where you felt he was all that likely to overturn the lead that Sanchez Ruiz has had throughout this entire match. And it's a match which is about to end in victory. Pulling away from 8-6, FSR wins 2 in a row. He ends the hopes of Carlo Biado. So many good Asian players in the field. so many of them got to the final 64. Carlo Biado among the best of them, but he will go no further in this Hanoi Open. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz has beaten Carlo Biado by 10 racks to 6.